Hello, Ramley and other NFL family, especially Dolphins family. Today, on this episode of MOOF, I am stoked to welcome in my Dolphins fan representative, where we are going to be breaking down the Dolphins schedule game by game, and of course, bi-week hot takes. The Dolphins made a blockbuster trade to get Tyreek Hill. They have a new coaching staff. There's lots of change and lots of hope and optimism in this organization. Let's find out from a real Dolphins fan and content creator just how optimistic Dolphins fans are heading into this season. And welcoming in Paul from On the Fin side. How are you, my friend?
Dude, I am always good. You after this offseason we've had, man. How could I not be great right now? Like it just felt like Christmas every day.
Yeah, well, now you know how a Rams fan feel. Not flashing.
Man, I was jealous before, but I'm good now, man. I'm good now.
Well, you know what, Paul? Let's so again on the Fin side, link to your channel is in the description below. Make sure everyone go give Paul a sub. But Paul, talk to us here. Some of my viewers, obviously, shout out Grandizer12, clearly a Dolphins fan, so he probably knows. But some of my Ram fans and other fandoms that follow my channel that are watching, appreciate you all, especially Dirk Smith coming in. What are Dolphins fans optimistic about heading into this season?
Everything. I mean, the defense was arguably a top 5 defense down the backstretch last year and 2 years ago. And they returned pretty much everyone and supplemented where they needed to as well. I mean, and then the offense that we went from not having an offensive game plan and having 3 coordinators, none of whom would claim to call plays, and they didn't plan for things like weather, to one of the greatest offensive minds in the NFL. Somebody that you're welcome for getting him out of your division.
Yeah, no, thanks to that. Well, you know what? Let's get into it here. So again, we're going to go game by game. If you're watching with us live now, thank you so much. In the chat, as we call out each game, feel free to put a W if you think the Dolphins are going to win. Put an L if you think they're going to lose. And if for some reason you think they're going to tie, you can predict a tie. But we don't like ties here.
Just take the L key off your keyboard, guys. Like,
yeah.
You don't need it.
So let's get into this here. So week 1, the schedule makers, they decided to give you a divisional game week 1 against none other than possibly the evil empire organization that is the New England Patriots. Win or lose, you're starting the season at home.
I think this is going to be a big old win in Devontae Parker's revenge game, where he's going to go, probably 6 receptions for about 48 yards and maybe a score. Okay. The Patriots have struggled against the Dolphins the past few years, even without the Dolphins having an offense. And, fixing the offensive line this offseason for the most part is going to be huge. Adding Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle continuing to ascend, Mike Gesicki returning. You just go down, and then the running back stable that they have now, as well as actually having an offensive identity. I just don't think the Patriots are in that place right now. And yeah. I think this is going to be a pretty straightforward win. I don't think it's going to be as convincing as it should be, because I do think they're going to be acclimating to Mike McDaniel offense pretty early. And Mike McDaniel likes to do a lot of setup offense week by week for the following week. So when you watch tape, your eyes end up lying to you when you get out on the field. But again, I think this is going to be a big step forward for these Dolphins, and I think they're going to take the W.
Okay, so you're predicting a win there. I do see Silly Fun Guy. He's predicting a loss, but we got a couple of other W's in the chat. Our resident Bills fan, Jake, is in the house. I think he's feeling silly there. Grandizer did remind me, I normally start off the show with this. I totally forgot to, though, how did you become a Fins fan? Who is your all-time favorite Fins player? And just how many Fin jerseys do you have?
Oh my God. So I live in New England, My dad used to split season tickets at Foxborough just so he can go see the Dolphins every year. He grew up in a Giants household back when they were the Boston Patriots up here, and he wanted his own team, and he loved the colors. Started rooting for the Dolphins. Then 1972 happened, and he cemented himself in as a Dolphins fan.
That would do it.
And then, so literally from a very early age, Marino was the quarterback, and I was going to New England at least once a year to see the Dolphins play. And that was back when you could go out and meet the players. So after the game, so you'd go out by the buses, and Mark Clayton would come out and sit there and shoot the breeze with you while he was having a sausage at the stand. Lifford Hobley would come by in his big fur coat with his huge earring. Louis Oliver would be out there, Mark Duper, Greg Beatty, all those old school dudes. And it really locked me in. And it's pretty cool for me with doing this channel and some of the former Dolphins I've gotten to be friendly with, being able to share that with my dad and my uncle, actually. So it's just been amazing. As far as favorite player growing up, anybody that's watched our channel can probably tell you this one. And Grandy, I know you know it, but John Offerdahl. He was an I grew up in the Marino era. I loved Ferrell Edmonds and Mark Clayton. I love Marino. But John Offerdahl, what he was at middle linebacker, the way he sacrificed his body on any given play, and he's up in the Dolphins Ring of Honor. His career got cut short due to injuries. But on top of that, I've gotten to hang out with the guy as an adult now. I've had him on the show a few times, helped promote his charity. The first time I met the guy, he literally headbutted me, which was amazing. That chair behind me is literally from the Dolphins locker rooms, signed by him, McDuffie, and Madison. And Offerdahl was the one that handed it to me. How do you beat that, man?
No, you don't.
And the best is afterwards, I'm geeking out, but I didn't show it. And I got up to go to the bathroom. I was at the team facility for something. And, I'm basically going outside to call my dad. I'd be like, dude, you have no idea who actually showed up. I'm and who do I run into when I'm out there but Offerdahl? And I said, John, I just want to tell you, this is awesome. Growing up, I had one poster that stayed on my wall my entire childhood. And that was the old 80s 3-shot poster of John Offerdahl. And he looks at me and he goes, and I'll bleep myself for the full comment. But he looks at me and goes, you know what that means, right? I said, no, John. What does that mean? He goes, that means I'm effing old. And he just starts dying. I'm standing there laughing, shooting the breeze with my childhood hero. And then, he comes on our show and he starts singing the Dolphins fight song. And that was back before we were in the video days. So and he made us sing along with him. And I don't know if you've seen 4 people with no visual cues try to sing a song with each other. And one of them's just I taking a few shots to the head. It's interesting, to say the least. No background either. Totally a cappella. It was amazing.
Definitely. I gotta give a shout out here, Aaron. Thank you so much for that $3 super chat. That's very kind of you. He's an Arizona Cardinals fans, but can't forget Heartline game.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to get to know our guests here. Just before we did that, you did predict in week 1 that you would beat New England. So Dolphins are starting off 1-0. And again, if you're watching with us live, feel free to predict. So the next game, you're on the road traveling to Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens, win or lose.
Well, I'm going to start this with heading into week 9 last year, Lamar Jackson was on a tear and the Ravens looked unstoppable. And then the Dolphins decided to shift back to their mobile cover 0 attacking style of defense finally. And they made Lamar Jackson look like Ryan Leaf, which was insane to me. And on top of that, it looked like they gave enough of the combination to other teams that the Ravens just struggled down the stretch. People are questioning this offseason if Lamar Jackson has lost it. And it was the Dolphins that, basically twisted the little neat thing on the safe with their ear against it and said, let's go. And they've just gotten faster and more experienced on defense. And they're returning all of these players, and the way Jalen Phillips played down the stretch with his speed. I just don't see this being one that the Ravens take away unless the Dolphins do something stupid like they did last year and take this mobile, shifting, cover zero attack style defense and try to stuff it into a traditional 4-4, 3-4 combo. So I'm going W here again. We're starting out 2-0.
Okay, 2-0. I like it. I will. I love to acknowledge the chat and see what the chat's saying. I do see a couple of L's in there. But
Ben's thrown down an L about 4 times already. We've only done 2 games. Come on, man.
yeah. Well, Ben is our resident Packers fan.
Actually, he's thrown down 3 because he threw the Packers down too for Christmas.
Yeah. Shout out! I did not know it was Aaron's birthday today. Definitely happy birthday to Aaron, a fantastic content creator and Arizona Cardinals writer. So happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Aaron.
Tribe is thinking they're gonna regret Flores leaving. We'll see. But okay, all right, 2-0. Again, this is MOOF. If you can be optimistic about your team, this is the time of year to do it. No judgment, even though that's all sports fans do is judge each other. So here we go. Week 3, your first matchup with the Buffalo Bills. A lot of people predicting the Bills to be a pretty good team this year. You're at home, win or lose versus the Buffalo Bills.
I think that heat is going to be tough, but the Bills are weird. They're one of the furthest north teams, if not the furthest north team in the NFL, and they're built for warm weather, not cold weather. Which is just they might be the worst team in inclement weather, but not the warm weather. And I think the Bills pull this one out. Again, the Dolphins will be struggling to gel together at this point. I think as far as that goes. I think it's going to be that first bit of adversity, but I think it's going to help the team pull together in this one. And I've got Buffalo taking game 3 to drop us to 2-1.
Okay. So still above 500. It's only 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yep.
Then you got a short week here, and I do see some L's in the chat, but you got a short week here. Thursday night prime time football. You're taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. In Cincy. Can the Dolphins upset the AFC champions from last year?
They can. This is going to be a battle of a lot of weapons. You've got Burrow versus Tua. You've got Waddle versus blanking. Oh my God. Wide receiver. They drafted him last year. Jamar Chase. And just a stable of weapons around them. And I think 2 things are going to come into Miami's favor. Miami does have the better defense here. Miami's secondary is just built to resist passers. And Burrow is going to be thrown into the teeth like he would against his own grandmother. And I think the Dolphins' pass rush is going to beat that offensive line. I know they improved it a little bit, but it's not where it needs to be. In the Dolphins front 7 and the Dolphins back 4 are just going to be a bit too much. And I see this being one of those 27-21 type victories for the Dolphins.
Okay.
And these 2 teams are always fun on Thursday night. I mean, go back to the Cameron Wake walk-off sack game on Halloween a few years back. And well, more than a few years back. But
okay, so September 29th, mark that on your calendar. It's going to be a fun game in Cincy. Looking forward to that. But you're predicting a Dolphins win. I do see a couple of wins here in the chat. And then a few people are giving out the L's here. Grandizer did predict the tie versus Buffalo. Grandizer always predicts at least one tie every episode of MOOF.
Grand, we ain't tying. There's no ties in football. I don't care what the rules say.
Okay, and I'm going to caveat this next one. So we did have our Jets episode of MOOF a couple of nights ago, and probably the shocker from that episode is our Jets fan Jeremy, in the nicest way possible, did predict that the Jets would sweep the Dolphins, which the chat kind of blew up at that. But please, as a Dolphins fan, please, give some context of
This is
Jets,
our year.
the Jets, the Rams, or sorry, the Dolphins fans' perspective on the Jets. But you're traveling to New York to take on the Jets, Week 5, win or lose in this game.
It's a win until proven otherwise, man. Like that, we've swept the Jets for how many years in a row now? And the Jets every June, the Jets at every May, the Jets fans are just chirping away at all the Dolphin fans, and we've almost hit the point of indifference at this point as far as that goes. It's right now. It's kind of like playing against Buffalo for Miami. Like, just when's the last time the Jets won a division game? Period. Like, try to predict a split before you predict a sweep. Like, Zach Wilson is abysmal. I can't believe in the Jets at this point. Like, we literally go to these games with 2,000 other Dolphin fans and hold group ticket sales records for MetLife Stadium, and I don't remember going and watching the Dolphins lose. And we just got better, and they got, for the most part, okayer. So, I newsflash, we're both predicting a sweep, and I think one of us is right.
Okay, that's fair. So 4-1 on the year, and
4-1.
I will give a shout out to one of our resident Jets fans, John from Pure General Fantasy Sports, showing up in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in, man. But yeah, we got some grandizers predicting an L to the Jets.
What?
Randy, man, he's predicting a win there. And silly fun. A couple of L's to the Jets here. Okay. We'll see. But the important thing is you have the Jets 4-1, or sorry, the Dolphins 4-1. I think Dolphins fans would be ecstatic with that start to the season.
We would.
And then you have 2 home games coming up. The first home game, you are playing the Minnesota Vikings. They're coming to Miami. Win or lose against this tough team to predict in the Minnesota Vikings.
The Vikings are so all over the map, and I'm glad you put it that way. I think this is going to be a trap game for the Dolphins, and they lose a heartbreaker by less than a field goal here. This is one of those games that they absolutely should win on paper, and I think they fall in this one. I think this is like one of the 2 good games that Kirk Cousins has on the season, and just where everything's clicking, as opposed to the other games where nothing is clicking. And just gives the Vikings fans that little shred of hope that they took on a 4-1 team and beat them.
Yeah.
Like, just for that extra heartbreak for Viking fans.
Okay. So you picked the L there. You're 4-2. I'm seeing a couple of L's and a couple of W's in the chats. So this could go either way. And of course, Ben, as a Vikings fan, is hoping you destroy the Vikings, or as a Packers fan. And then you have a Sunday night primetime football game. I do think this is a weird game to schedule on primetime Sunday night football, but I don't make the schedule. I just read it. You are welcoming the Pittsburgh Steelers to Miami, win or lose.
Well, so this is going to be a funny one for me. It's the Steelers right now. I've made so much fun of them. For their current depth chart at quarterback. It's like, if you take Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and Chris Olodokun, who I actually do like Chris Olodokun, but he's not going to see the field in this one. If you took those top 3 guys and combined all their best qualities, you still don't have a starting NFL quarterback right now. Like, and their receiving pool right now, I love George Pickens, but he's probably going to be hurt at that point. And then you're talking about what? Gunnar Olszewski starting in his place? Calvin Austin? Like, they'll probably be on their third string running back at that point because their running back room is fragile. And yeah, you've got Brian Flores and Minka Fitzpatrick on the other side of the ball. Supposedly they like each other now after leaving in a hateful filled exit from Miami. But I just don't see this being the Steelers' year, and it is a weird game to put it in prime time. Like, it's just like somebody's like somebody in the NFL front office is a big Patriots fan and hates the Steelers for challenging them for so many years and just wants to put them out there to get destroyed in a national spotlight. This one won't even be close.
Okay, so you're predicting a blowout win for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch Trubisky with a hurt George Pickens probably and on his third string running back. What are they going to do? Put in Mason Rudolph for hope at that point? Ugh.
Yeah, unless Najee Harris maybe goes off, but that's be the biggest thing.
If he's healthy for that one by that point, because they're going to run his wheels off. Because behind him you've got Benny Snell, Anthony McFarland. Are you hoping Mateo Durant works out if Najee goes down? Like, no. Who's the GM up there these days? Oh, that's right, they don't have one, do they? Or did they hire somebody yet?
I can't think off the top of my head, but that you know what, you make a lot of great points. Again, I still think this is one of the weirder primetime Sunday night games, but you're predicting a blowout win for the Dolphins here. I am seeing Grandizer's also predicting a win for the Dolphins, and then you're traveling to Detroit, and you're on the road taking on the Detroit Lions. Shout out tomorrow. I am having my Lions fan come on for the Lions episode of MOOF. But what do you think? Win or lose, can you take on the Lions?
I adore Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
He is a great dude that should have taken over for the Dolphins several years ago. I mean, if you've been in a room with him, there is just a presence. Like, I wanted to run through a brick wall from the guy being in a room with him. Like, and that's after being in a room with a ton of the Dolphins ex-coaches. But there's just something about Campbell that makes players want to play hard for him. Unfortunately, while they've made some positive strides this offseason, they are nowhere close to being an NFL team yet. They're still in the midst of that rebuild, and they're just, it's like when you pull the turkey out and you just baste it a little bit and put it back in because it's just not ready yet. And that's where they're at. And they've got a few good players, but you can't beat 11 with 5. This is another W for Miami at this point. We're still, what are we, 6-2 after that?
6-2, and I think Finn fans will be, singing, the Finns fight song in the streets of Miami. And then you have, so from Detroit, then you travel on the road to Chicago to take on the Bears. I don't want to turn this into a hate fest on the Bears like that's been in previous episode, but win or lose with the Bears, I think I can assume this.
Dude, this is literally 3 straight weeks without having to face a quarterback. It's awesome. Let's go. 7-2, baby. How do you schedule this with all right, these 3 teams don't have a quarterback. Let's just throw them in a row against Miami.
Well, speaking of not having a quarterback, after the Bears game, you welcome the Cleveland Browns to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Win or lose?
Well, I mean, Deshaun Watson settled with 20 out of the 24 that have come forward so far.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if he's going to play in this. So we might be facing either Jacoby Brissett or Baker. I don't want to be here, Mayfield. You don't like me, I don't like you. So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to throw the ball to the other team till you take me out. And that sounds insane, but based on what I've seen at Baker Mayfield, he legitimately might do that, which is insane to say. And the Browns are a team that no matter how, they could literally take the entire all-pro roster from last year and they would screw it up. That's the Browns, man. It's still the Browns. Again, we're going to 8-2, baby. W again.
Yeah,
this is going to be a good run. There's going to be a crash to earth for a minute, but it's going to make the Dolphins angry. Go ahead.
No, hey, 8-2. That's a fantastic start. We are at the Dolphins bye week, which means when anyone who watches this show knows that when we get to the bye week, it's time for
bye week hot takes. The hottest takes on the bye week.
Yes, it is time for bye week hot takes. This is the part of the show where we look at different corners of the internet, Twitter, Reddit pages, random Twitter Spaces conversations, and we find hot takes about the Dolphins that maybe have a little bit of weight to them, but we like to get the reaction of our guests. Paul here has not seen any of these takes. He will be reacting raw. So, Paul, when I bring the take on screen, I'll read it out. If you could give your general thoughts towards it, do you think there's weight behind it? Do you understand the rationale behind it? Do you buy? Do you sell
it? Door number one. Let's do it. I already dodged the flames that came out of the side and the bottom. Let's do this, man. Let's do it.
And I would also like to shout out that Dolphins subreddit and Dolphin Twitter Spaces. You guys, Dolphins fans talk, and there was a lot to pick from the Dolphins fandom. But I got some interesting ones here. Check out this one first. The Dolphins ranked in the bottom 12 in points per game and yards per game on offense last year. They will be ranked top 12 in both in 2022.
Do you have like a dinger noise? Because I'm going to go bing, bing, bing. Correct. That is correct. We actually have a game plan. Like the fact that you can't even say bottom 5, you have to say bottom 12, and we didn't have an offensive game plan. And other than like, I don't know, just throw it to Waddle. Like if you watch the Tennessee game last year, the funniest moment of the season for me, because there were a lot of points even when we were winning, where I'm like, dude, coaching is a problem. And they went out against Tennessee, and all week long it was reported that there was going to be freezing rain, slush, sleet, you name it. And I'm watching this game like they didn't plan for the weather. And they had their running backs averaging, both of them, over 5 yards a carry in that game. And they just went away from it after like a handful of carries. Like, oh no, we can't run when it's wet. We should throw. And they had no game plan for the weather. And the best part was 2 days later, Mike Gesicki's at the podium. And they said, Mike, watching that game, it really looked like you guys had no game plan for the weather. Like it was a surprise. Did you guys have a game plan for the weather? And you see Gesicki think about it for a second. Like, how do I phrase this? Leans forward. It's real close. No. And then just sits back. Like, nothing. Just, nah. Like, there was no plan. Like, and the players didn't even know who was calling plays. Like, it's two offensive coordinators, but the quarterback's coach might have been calling plays sometimes through a headset. What?
Yeah.
So easily, man. Easily. We have an offensive line now. Like,
okay. All right.
Wow.
All right. Well, second hot take here. This was taken from a Twitter space, so I had to kind of paraphrase it a little bit here. Tua is the most disrespected quarterback in the NFL. He will take over games this season like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Mahomes can.
I think he's going to take over some games this season. I don't know if I'm going to throw him in that full-blown category yet. I think Lamar Jackson is a broken toy right now that needs to find his way. I know we touched on that briefly.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see Mahomes without Hill. We've never seen that truly for any extended stretch. I think Mahomes is one hell of a quarterback, but it's very interesting when people make a big deal about Tua underthrowing receivers at times. And if you look at Tyreek Hill's highlight tape from last year, like his top 10 plays, I think 8 of them he was underthrown. And that's something that it'll be interesting to see if this receiving core that Mahomes has now makes him look human or not. But and Josh Allen, and he was a candidate for MVP last year. I'm not going to go as bold as that, but I think Tua does have a very good season. I mean, hell, we're what 8-2 right now in my predictions. So
Yeah. Okay.
But no, I think he'll have a very good season, and he's got the weapons that there's no real excuses. His hip has had the 2 years to heal. There's no excuses anymore.
Okay, fair. I mean, you don't see like Tua entering like the MVP conversation.
I think it is possible, but I think the weird part's going to be the arguments against him are going to be like, well, look who he's throwing to, and it's, I mean, God, Xavier Howard's been one of the top, if not the top corner in the NFL for several years now. And he can't even get consideration for anything half the time. It's like, all right, fine, we'll name him to the Pro Bowl. Like, it's for some reason, it's like a black hole for the media with the Dolphin fans. And it doesn't help that ESPN and NFL Network, ESPN in particular, which is right up here in Connecticut, is very Patriots jaded as far as that goes. And it's not their fault. They're all right in driving distance to the stadium, we'll go with. But again, I don't think he'll win MVP, even if his numbers look like and deserve it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Final hot take here, and this one was a fun one that some very passionate Dolphins fans were arguing in the comment section. The Dolphins will make Hard Rock a fortress this year and go undefeated at home in 2022. Note, they have only lost 3 games each of the past 2 years at home. Could you see, I know you already have one prediction of an L on here, but can you see the rationale behind here from an optimistic Dolphins fan that they will win all 8 of their home games this year?
I think it is very, very highly possible. I mean, the Bills are a tough matchup, but that's one that I think I could see them pulling out. And if I remember correctly, the Packers are at Miami for Christmas, right?
Yeah, it'd be the Packers.
That's Miami. Another tough one. I mean, as far as the rest, the Texans at home don't scare me. The Jets at home don't scare me. Steelers, like, you start running down the list, and it's very highly possible. Even if they go, 12-5, it's still possible that they win all 8 home games there. And I do think Miami's going to be a double-digit win team. They've been right there without an offensive game plan for 2 years now.
Okay. Well, this has been
Bye Week Hot Takes. The hottest takes on the bye week.
I wanted that graphic again so bad.
Yeah, I love that segment.
That was fun, man. I like it.
Thank you. Makes the bye week that much more, exciting. So that was bye week hot takes. We got to get back to the prediction. We're in week 12. So far, Paul has the Dolphins at 8-2 on the year. And after the bye week, you're at home. You welcome in the Houston Texans, win or lose.
Keep it rolling, baby. Keep it rolling. 9-2.
9-2. 1 win away from going double digits. Now, you do have a tough road stretch here. 3 road games in a row. And we're going the first one, the Ramley is going to be cheering you on. I'm going to be cheering you on. You're taking on the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. Win or lose?
Double-digit wins before our 3rd loss.
Oh, man.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. But I think McDaniel pulls it out, and I think this defense is going to solve the fact that who's going to be the quarterback at that point? Are they still trying to trade Jimmy G, or is the trade deadline passed? I think the trade deadline's passed, so Jimmy G will still be there. And yeah, no, I think Miami pulls it out in that one.
Okay. Well, the Ramley will rejoice and be thankful. And I'm assuming that's the game that you got because of the new 17-game kind of like schedule maker thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, I was like, you don't have any other NFC West opponents on there.
Yep,
so, yeah.
that's our randomized like revenge game for Shanahan and McDaniel to face off, and you see
Yeah.
their pictures up on the billboards against each other like a bunch of T-Rexes all week.
All right. So you're 10-2 now, and then you're on the road again, and you travel to the beautiful SoFi Stadium to take on the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think Tua throws for 400 yards in this game.
Whoa.
And Miami still takes an L, and we have to listen to Justin Herbert's the better quarterback. I wish we took Justin Herbert again. And just piss Tua off for the home stretch here, which is going to be phenomenal.
I am seeing. Sorry, Grandizer is predicting a tie versus San Francisco. Lots of wins against the Niners and the Texans, and then Silly Fun Guy is predicting L versus the Chargers. Chargers, they got a good roster going on there.
Yeah, they do, and luckily we're already at double-digit wins. Miami will see them at some point in the playoffs, I'm sure.
Okay. I like that. So you're 10-3, still a phenomenal record that I'm sure Dolphins fans would be freaking out about at this point in the year. And then week 15, you travel to Buffalo. With this kind of record, you got to be contending for the division title. Win or lose in Buffalo, it's in December, so you might have some snow.
If it snows, I think Miami takes it. Unfortunately, I don't think it snows, and I think Miami gets their lone losing streak of the season here and drops 2 in a row, gets swept by the Bills, and gets angry enough to just bare-knuckle box with them in the playoffs. But I think we drop a second one in a row here.
Okay, yeah.
What are we at, 11-4? 10-4?
You're at 10-4, yes.
All right.
10-4 after 15 weeks, 14 games. And then you welcome in the Green Bay Packers to Miami, win or lose in late Christmas Day.
Dude, this is like by this point of the season, it's where Aaron Rodgers is going bananas and throwing his toes up on camera and just saying weird things in the media and falling apart with the fact that his receiving core is terrible at this point and he's got to rely on his running game. I think Miami comes out angry after losing Chargers and the Bills and basically cements who their identity is and just pummels the team that everybody thinks is better after they're writing the Dolphins off on Christmas Day.
Okay. All right, that takes you to 11-4 on the year. I will give a shout out to Ben, our resident Packers fan, saying massive L.
I almost gave Ben a shout out on that one too, but I resisted.
I am seeing a couple of L's here, but
we got a couple of L's on my record here. We're what, 11-4?
Yeah, you're at 11-4, and then you are traveling to New England to take on the Patriots January 1st. So interesting. The Dolphins play both Christmas Day and also New Year's Day.
Because they're a present. They're a present. They're a present this year.
That was good.
And I think Tyreek's going to do some type of Santa Claus dance on Christmas Day. And then continue it for New Year's in England or New England. He's going to just pull out the little blowhorn when he scores and run around the stadium. Like, who knows? But I think Tyreek is going to that's going to be a Tyreek takeover game, to be honest with you. And then once they start focusing on him, I think you're going to see Raheem Mostert come out and just race by everybody while they're looking at Waddle and Hill.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you're predicting a win there in New England.
12-4, baby.
Okay. 12-4. I love the optimism. So week 18, division rival. With a record like that, you might have the division locked up. You might have seeding locked up. Who knows? But you did predict earlier, you referenced you're going to predict a sweep of the Jets. Even if you're resting your starters this week 18, are you predicting a sweep?
I don't think we're resting our starters here because I think after the sweep to Buffalo, we need a game lead on them for the playoffs.
Okay.
And that's where I do think Buffalo could be sitting here at 12-4 as well.
Okay.
And I think we go after the Jets and go after them hard. And really just, McDaniel versus Saleh is going to be interesting. And I think this might end up being one of those really, really watched games to close out the year. And I think it's going to be a big Miami win here. I think they're going to scrape and scrap a little early, but I think they're going to come out in the second half and unload. And, you ever see that video of Tyreek? What? Yeah, help is on the way. Don't worry. Help is on the way. And then he goes out and scores, 3 touchdowns from there? Like, I think this is going to be a game where as soon as they start focusing on Tyreek, you're going to see Waddle out there. Their secondary isn't good enough to hold up, and I think Miami's offensive line this year is going to be good enough to hold up that front for one of the quickest decision-making quarterbacks in the NFL.
Okay, well that's 13-4, and that is that is a optimistic prediction, but that's why we do this show. We want to see your fandom, your optimism. When I look at your schedule, obviously those 2 matchups with Buffalo are no joke. That Minnesota Vikings game, you just don't know what you're going to get in the Vikings. I do think that Niners game could go either way. That is a tough stretch. That's definitely the hardest stretch of your season, week 13 to week 16 there with the Niners, the Chargers, the Bills, and the Packers in the same 4-game span. But, I think Dolphins fans do have a lot to be optimistic about, and it's going to be a fun year for sure for the Dolphins fans.
So the weird thing I'm going to add on to that prediction is I think they go 13-4, but I think the Bills do as well. So they are probably going to be the highest ranked wild card in the playoffs. Because after getting swept by the Bills in the regular season, they're going to have to be that wild card team that plays on the road, which I'm okay with because I think that they're going to lose to the Bills twice in the regular season and come back and beat them in the playoffs, which is always one of those fun things for me.
Yeah, the Rams got to do that last year with the Niners. Lost twice in the season, beat them in the playoffs. It's quite satisfying. So if you get that experience, enjoy it. I do have a couple predictions in the chat. Jake, our Bills fan, is saying 10-7 just missed the playoffs. Silly Fun Guy is predicting 9-8, so a repeat of last year's record. But honestly, Paul, this was a lot of fun. I definitely learned a bunch about the Dolphins from you, and I'm excited to see the Dolphins. I think they're one of the most interesting teams heading into next season, whether you're a Dolphins fan or not. But thank you so much. Please tell our viewers, whether they're watching live with us now or on the replay, where can people find you? I know I have the link to your channel in the description below, but what can they expect from you and your co-host on your channel?
So for me, it's pretty cool. We're not your average YouTube channel. We don't put out a show unless there's something to say. And we actually did a fun show a couple weeks ago, which was like our top 10 Dolphins of all time that never made a Pro Bowl, or favorite Dolphins of all time that never made a Pro Bowl. And that was a tough one, dude. Like that was a tough one because some of the guys that make that one-off Pro Bowl would surprise you. We get interviews with some of the guys. We just had Thomas Morstead on the show a couple weeks ago. Our draft coverage, if you're not a Dolphins fan, our draft coverage is usually out of this world. I'm going to start getting the draft prospects back on again this year coming up, leading up to the draft. So it's in, our live coverage and things like that. Like we're real, we're legit. We don't put a bunch of BS out there just to get clicks as far as that goes. It's any opinion you get from us, any thought you get from us is real. It's researched. We don't claim facts that aren't facts. We don't do all this flip flop, throw things at a wall, see what sticks. And that's one thing I've noticed with your channel that I love is you do this to be real. You do this in the right way for me. And we're always down to help out. Anything you need, we're around, man. It's because we love football, man.
Yeah.
I coach kids and, some of them watch. And that's one of the things where, I try to teach them, like, you got to have integrity in everything you do and be yourself. And I can't do this any other way and have kids watching it. You know what I mean? Like the number of kids that I've coached through the years, like I want them to watch and see that I'm me and honest and legit. and not some full of crap, which I hate to say, but there's a lot of creators out there. You know this. You've probably run into it a few times where they just throw stuff and, oh, see, I told you. My source, like, just stop with that. Just stop with, like, I don't want to hear the word sources ever again. Like, it's just, put it out there as my opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion is this. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, my opinion is something big will happen sometime in the next 24 to 187 hours. Maybe. Dude, it's the big probably will happen. Like, like I saw a team plane fly by once. I think it had a logo on it somewhere. Like, okay, cool. Like, it's be real, man. And that's and I love coming on channels like this where it's everything I've seen from you seems pretty real and fun. Like,
I appreciate that,
that's what
man.
it's about, man. Because at the end of the day, we both love football. Totally. We all, even Ben in chat, was it Ben? Ben, Packersness.
Yeah.
It's the fact that he loves his team and believes in them, and football's about hope and life lessons, man. And that's the coolest thing to me. So that's what you can expect from us.
Thanks for sharing that. We do have one question here. I'd love to get your take on here, just from our Bills fan, Jake. He's saying, do you honestly think Tua is a star? Because I think he's a good QB, but doesn't have the physical tools to be a superstar.
And I can understand that approach. And will I say he is a star? I won't. Do I think he has the potential to be? I do. The weird thing for me is before that senior year, I was stumping for a quarterback, but I was saying to pass on Tua. And my only knock on Tua is I'm very curious to see how his injury history plays out throughout his NFL career. Mm-hmm. That was something in college. And at the time, it was funny because I was talking about for the Dolphins, I would have taken somebody different in the first round because there was a quarterback that was projected as a fifth rounder that I thought could be just as good, if not better, as far as the star qualities go. And he was somebody that was still a little bit unproven. And then he went on to literally, utterly destroy the entire college landscape in ways people have never seen before. And that was Joe Burrow. I started talking him up in like July and August. And it was funny because my co-host is like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to look at this guy. Like 3 weeks in the year, he's like, yeah, okay, he beat up on nobody. Like, whatever, with a great team. And I'm like, dude, just watch him.
Yeah.
Please, now that there's tape for you to actually look at without me pulling out some, snuff film out that somebody pulled out of somewhere of his footage from practice at Ohio State or, you name it, like, just watch him. This dude has it in all things. And, and then there was no hope of us getting him with the 5th overall pick. Like, and so, but my only knock on Tua really was the injury aspect. So if he can hold his body together and no longer be made out of popsicle sticks with the NFL team that literally teaches you how to keep your body together. Like, look at his legs right now, dude. Holy crap. Like, and he's got a bigger arm. Like, I've seen him throw the ball 60 yards. Like, it's, don't listen to the NFL Network stuff. He could be a star. He's not there quite yet, but he could easily get there. And the fact that they've got these tools in place around him, that's huge. But also the fact that everything I've seen and heard, both on and off the record, Mike McDaniel truly believes in him. And Mike McDaniel's a guy that sees things in players that other people don't.
Yeah.
And everything I've seen from McDaniel, the fact that Sean McVay, when they were both on the same coaching staff, if McDaniel started talking, if you watch the footage, like some of that back alley footage and things like that, you'd see Sean McVay talking, and the second McDaniel started talking, he shut up and just looked at him with focus. That's huge. Like, it's because McVay's usually the guy in the room that's like, no, I'm talking. Let me say what I'm going to say, and then we'll hear what you got to say. Yeah. And like, he'd be like, yeah. So what I think is, and McVay be like, and he just, and not angry, like not the dude, you cut me off, like this nerdy little dude, like it's like, oh, he's speaking. Let's hear what he's got to say. Like, And that speaks volumes to me. And the way that McDaniel is so good with misdirection and quick decision making and little things like that. McDaniel's offense requires somebody that's not a traditional quarterback. And I think Tua fits that mold. So I think Tua could be a star in the Mike McDaniel offense. I hope that answers your question, Jake. I really do. Like, it was long-winded, but I'm having fun hanging out here. So
yeah, man. No, that's having a good time. And
you got questions you want to do? We can do a couple.
I do see one more question here from Aaron in the chat.
Not Aaron. No, we're good.
No, yeah, the birthday boy here.
All right.
He's saying, but what are expectations for Noah? Do you know who he's talking about?
Yeah, Igbenogany.
Okay.
No, so Noah was a corner that Miami took with their third first-round pick a couple years ago.
Okay.
He struggled to see the field. He's got all the physical tools in the world. He was actually the youngest player in that draft. And that was the weird thing too, is he and Austin Jackson were both like just turning 20 years old that season. Mm-hmm. They didn't even turn 21 until they're like between their first and second season. And the interesting thing is Miami's built a coaching staff full of teachers. I've gotten like Sam Madison and Pat Surtain being there. If Sam Madison is an amazing human being, he's actually the first former player that we had on the show. The first, and this is just the behind the scenes stuff. And I swear to God, when I say stuff, I'm not name dropping. I'm not bragging. I'm not any of that stuff.
No, I get it, man. No
but the first time I ever got a call from an NFL player or a guy I grew up watching, it was Sam. And I've gotten to pick his brain so many times. Like he went to a game with us with the MetLife Takeover crew one time. And like he made my dad's year. Like he's taking selfies with my dad and sending them to me on Twitter. Like he's like, look who I found. Like I'm like, all right, Sam, you're sitting with me. I get it. Cool. Like awesome. That's my dad. Like my dad's like, what's going on right now? Right. Like, and like it's Sam can get something from people that most people would write off. Sam did a great job with, let's face it, the Kansas City secondary overall hasn't been super special throughout their run. And Sam was out there as a secondary coach. The only reason Sam is in Miami was when the position opened up, he went in and talked to Andy Reid and said, look, Andy, like, and this is a story that's actually out there. He went in there to him and he's like, Andy, look, this is going home. Like, I love you and respect you, but I want to do this. And Andy told him, he's like, I want you here, but if you don't go for this, you're an idiot and I'm going to fire you. Like, and he had Andy Reid's full support, which I think is amazing. Like that's some of the stuff that I love because it's done out of respect, even though he wanted him there. And if Sam didn't go to Miami, I have no doubt in my mind he'd still be on that Kansas City staff. Like he's a good dude. He's great with the players. Yeah. I think he's going to get a lot out of that secondary. And if he can't get somebody out of Igbenogany or get something out of Igbenogany and all those physical tools that he has, okay, like it's a write-off at that point. But I don't think Igbenogany is ever going to be a star, but I think he'll be serviceable, and that's all he needs to be because he's not going to start this year. He may not even be on the field in the dime package.
Yeah. So you very much view him as a depth player. Yeah,
he is. I mean, Nick Needham really took some strides forward as the nickel last year. Mm-hmm. You've got Byron and Xavier Howard, and you've got three amazing safeties right now. And Brandon Jones, Eric Rowe has been phenomenal against tight ends, and Javon Holland, who wound up being one of the steals of the draft in the second round last year.
Understandable. Well, Paul, it has been a pleasure chatting with you. Please stick around. We'll just chat briefly afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Thank you. Paul's official prediction, MOOF approved prediction, is 13-4 with the Dolphins. Let us know in the comments below if you're watching on the replay what you think the Dolphins' prediction is.
The first 13-4 wild card.
The first 13-4 wild card. Whoa, that's a bold statement. Bold statement. But Paul, it's been a pleasure. Everyone watching, thanks for tuning in live and on the replay. You guys are awesome. The next episode of MOOF will be on Friday night, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will be talking about the Detroit Lions. Anyway, have a great night, everybody, and we will see you in the next live stream or video.